Hey everybody, welcome to the Private Club Radio Show, where we give you the scoop on all things private golf and country clubs, from mastering leadership and management, food and beverage excellence, member engagement secrets, board governance, and everything in between, all while keeping it fun and light. Whether you're a club veteran just getting your feet wet or somewhere in the middle, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Denny Corby. Welcome to the show. In this episode, I am thrilled to have on a dear, great friend, great person, great human being, a really good human, good human, great human, friend of mine, friend of yours, friend of the channel. We have Passion Graham back. If you don't know Passion, she is a force of nature, an absolute powerhouse in the club space. Her journey from working at McDonald's as a teen to becoming one of, I would say, the most influential or innovative voices in the industry. And she's just nothing short of inspiring. And in this episode as well, she opens up about how a series of life-altering events pushed her to reevaluate some things. And from her health to her purpose, how she's turned those challenges into a thriving business that's empowering club professionals all over. Very fortunate to say she had a launch party for her brand new business a few weeks ago. Very fortunate to have been asked to go MC and perform a little bit, and it was so much fun. She knows how to throw an event. She knows how to put on a party. I will tell you that. But really seeing the joy in the life in that she brings to her work, to her clients, to her events, even when it's her own. And it's always a blast when our paths cross. This episode has a ton of laughs, some heartfelt moments, and some insights in this episode that are really good. So as always, I'm excited for this one. Before we get to it, quick thank you to some of our show partners: Concert Golf Partners, Kenneth's Member Vetting, and Golf Life Navigators, and myself, the Denny Corby Experience. There's excitement, there's mystery, also there's magic. One of the most fun member event nights you will have, guaranteed. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter, because coming out soon, we're going to be releasing our club entertainment guide, the ultimate club entertainment guide, and people who subscribe to the newsletter get first dibs. So without further ado, let's welcome back to the show the marvelous Passion Graham. I heard you're working with Eddie Ronan soon.
Yes, I am. So I will be doing his leadership, his team's leadership. Yeah, down in Florida. Very excited about that. I'm also doing some coaching with one of his teammates, and that's going really well.
That's cool.
Yeah, just busy.
Well, so what has been going on with you? What's been going on? Tell us about this change. Tell us about me, whatever. I hate sounding so formal, but so what got you to here now? Because I think the last time we talked, it was what got us to that place, and all that was entailed. And then now you're on this amazing new path venture. And what's going on now? So what happened? What got you to leave?
I actually look at it as not me leaving, more so me coming home to myself and coming home to my true purpose and calling within this space. And that's what Passionate Productions is. It's not me leaving, it's me truly coming home.
And leaving was probably the wrong word. That was just the one that popped out of my head. But
I get it.
So what helped you find that calling? What was the turning point? What was that pivot point?
Yeah, so there were several. Starting January 1, I actually had a stroke. And I was on, the last time we spoke, I was on a little bit of in the midst of a 2-week leave that I didn't realize was going to kind of snowball into this awakening, if you will. But yeah, so I had a stroke, and still, all right, had a stroke. Let's do what we need to do. Get back to work, because that's the mindset, right? I'm in this success cycle, which a lot of high achievers find themselves in.
And you're young.
Yeah.
We just celebrated your birthday. Like, this is Ooh, you got me thinking now
Yeah.
because we're like close in age. I don't like this. Oh boy. Okay.
But yeah, and so went back to work after a couple of weeks off, and then was still suffering from extremely high blood pressure that was brought on by a lot of stress and really not allowing the cortisol levels and just my stress to ever go down, because it's always, let's look for the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And then my mom ended up having an accident, and I was forced to then be out of work for 3 months on FMLA leave with her. That time and that white space that I was given was the most time out of work that I've had since I was 14 years old. And it was an awakening in so many levels. So, and it was really hard. Let me also say that, not in that I made the decision to be there for my mom, because would absolutely do that without question, but it was an ego check, because I always looked at myself as, I'm the champion, I'm the leader, I have to be there for my team, I have to be there for my club. How during the busiest season, when we have back-to-back weddings, we have Easter and Mother's Day, am I not going to be here? How is the club going to go on? Well, guess what? They did, and they did well. And my team was able to elevate in ways that I didn't even know was possible for them to be able to do. And I think about a quote that Mr. D says a lot, Damon Diorio, and the true sign of a good leader is not how your team performs when you're there, but how they perform when you're not there, right? And so I knew that my team was set up with the systems and processes in order to perform. And so that's where it was an ego check for me, in that, yeah, you don't have to be there at all times. And I was also able to see my team rise to the occasion, and where it's like, you know what? The house committee can be run by Stormy, and he'll do a good job at that. And so giving them opportunities to lead in ways that they wouldn't have had that opportunity had I still been there. And so that was a piece of it. Then also doing a lot of introspection during that time, a lot of reflecting, and realizing that maybe day-to-day operations really wasn't what I needed to be doing. And as I was going through therapy at this time as well, and finding out some things about myself, I realized that I show up in a lot of ways that individuals around me show up. And as I was finding out, hey, there's a different way of doing it, I want to share this with everyone, because we don't have to work ourselves to death. Actually, we shouldn't work ourselves to death. And so I began doing a lot of journaling, and even going on TikTok and finding that as an outlet. And I started doing this thing called Passion to Purpose, and that ultimately evolved into Passionate Productions. Long story long.
Amazing. It's to me, it think like it that must feel how Ed Roden feels, because that dude just like I chatted with him last week, Thursday or something, Wednesday, I don't remember, and it was just he's like, oh, I'm in my wood shop, but he's giving me a tour. I'm like, what is even going on here? He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, I'll be back in the club next year, and I
Hmm.
was just like,
Or wherever in the world. Like, he is the club industry's Waldo. Like, where is he? Or Carmen San Diego. Like, it's, yeah.
he yeah, he's bonkers.
Yeah.
He's bonkers. I
But
like.
definitely living his best life,
Oh,
and
I
he
know.
does.
And to be able to work with him and his team and do some fun like that must be so cool too. 'Cause it's probably gonna be one of those where like you've probably done some events where it feels like it's just like a lot of like one way, like where like you're giving, but I
Mhm.
feel like it's one of those like you're gonna get something from it too. Like he's gonna say some one thing to you and you'd be like,
Yeah.
that was good. That was good,
Hmm.
Ed. Thanks. Thanks.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you doing with Passionate Production? What exactly is it? What do you got cooking?
Yeah.
How are you helping people? How are you helping clubs?
Yeah. So Passionate Productions is truly my offering to the industry. It is my way to be of service to the industry at large. Our mission, our vision is to set club professionals on a track to where they are putting themselves over service in a way that may initially seem a bit counterintuitive because we always put service before self, but understanding that once you put yourself first, that it's also about self-preservation, and in that you're able to give so much more when you give to yourself first. So when you think about the heart, which is literally one of the most vital pieces of the human body, it pumps blood to itself first, right? And so that is truly my heart's offering to this industry, to the individuals who make up this industry, because I feel like for so long we've been doing it backwards. And this new generation that's coming in that's saying, hey, we want work life harmony. We want to be able to do it at a higher level, but not the way you old guys have been doing it. I believe that I am at a beautiful crossroads to where I'm kind of in the middle of those two sectors. And because of the things that have happened to me over the course of my career and my life, most recently, that I am able to offer this. And because I've been in clubs where we've operated at very high levels, and, for example, Desert Mountain, we did over 3,000 events a year, and we had to have all of those events completely mapped out at the beginning of the year because most of our members, Desert Mountain was their second or their third homes, right? And so, in order to map out all of those events, be able to have it to where we could present it to them and they could put it on their calendars, we had to have systems in place. We had to have processes and like where we were organized to an extreme level, but everyone doesn't have that. So why not be able to reach out to other industry folks and say, hey, here's the secret sauce, here's how we can do it in a way to where you're not always running after the eight ball, working yourself to death, and here's how you can figure it out and have that work life harmony that you so desire.
Wow. I did 3,000 events a year.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
and I did not even think about that. So I was thinking selfishly from the staff's point of view, but you guys went deeper. It's no, we have to think about our members. I didn't even, wow, that is such deep
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah. Because
Um,
so oftentimes, and what I'm learning on this journey and reaching out to other directors of catering and events, a lot of clubs are, putting events out to their members a month or 60 days out. Our members are really important people who travel the world. And so they're not planning their calendars 30 to 60 days out. They're planning it a year and 6 months out, right? And so in order to really get on their calendar and to make your events ones that they want to attend, you got to put it out ahead of time, right? Because
yeah.
they're planning that far in advance.
And to play devil's advocate a little bit,
Sure.
there probably are some clubs that are, and we've all been to them. I've been to them where they are a little bit more homey, like they
Yeah.
understand their base, and they're, that might not be for everybody, but at least I think probably to play on your point too, it's at least all right. Maybe October's, you know, humor month, and that's when they have the
Yeah.
comedy night and this night. In
Yeah.
September, okay, we're gonna have this. We're gonna have some sort of band music. We don't know what the theme is gonna be yet, but at least they're
Yeah.
planning. They're planting the seeds.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that is good. That
Yeah.
is good. Where now and what I enjoy too about what you have to offer as well is you've walked the walk and talked the talk.
Yeah.
Like you've built, it's not just like, oh, I just found my way into clubs because
Yeah.
whatever. Like man, you start from the bottom, now you're here. Like legit the song. Like
Eh,
you were it was McDonald's at 14?
Yeah.
And then when did you find clubs?
I found clubs actually in the end of 2013, going into 2014 is when I started my career at clubs. And even with that, started from the bottom. So because I had never worked in clubs before and I wanted to start at Charlotte Country Club, I was told, hey, we have a server position for you. And that was a bit of a gut punch. However, I knew me and I knew that this was what I wanted. And so I started as a server and worked my way up. I made a lot of lateral moves. But even that, I always say that my career was more of a lattice as opposed to a ladder, but it all informed every experience and truly makes Passionate Productions what it is. It truly makes me who I am, and the fact that I am able to coach from a place of compassion, a coach from a place of truly knowing the experiences that people are going through because I have actually been there.
Yeah.
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 No,
I went
it's a great place
to
to be.
school at 33 and was probably the oldest intern. And actually, I was the oldest intern in Charlotte Country Club history. But I mean, again, it informed my decisions, right? And it informs my ability to be able to talk to students and interns today.
That is the title of the episode. The
Yeah,
oldest intern ever. No.
I love it.
What looking back, to your, server self at the first club, or back to the, being the oldest intern,
Yeah.
knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself?
Mm. The one thing that I would tell myself is it's okay to make a mistake. Do not allow yourself to be stagnated or to be stifled by your fear of failure. It's all lessons and blessings, baby girl.
Do,
Like if you make a mistake, learn the lesson and keep it pushing.
and what types of mistakes are we talking? Because and I'm asking this from a place of, because I think people say, like, it's okay to fail. So in like a club position, like,
Yeah.
how do you have any examples? Like what do you mean? Like, what are some examples that you can maybe give where, like, oh, like maybe like taking that extra step, taking a step out on the limb, like what are some of those failures, or do you have any that you can share?
So, one thing that I would find myself doing a lot is not raising my hand in a meeting to speak up. And then someone else would say the thing that I was thinking. It was like, oh, that was great. You should have, oh, that was wonderful. And I would say that happened like for years where I just muffled myself because I didn't want to say something that was stupid or maybe wasn't going to get that response. There would be an idea for an event or for something that we could do to elevate the member experience that I wouldn't put ahead.
Yeah.
And I think about the opportunities where if I would have done that and someone else would have seen me do that, then guess what? That would have granted them permission to speak up, right? Because people believe they can be what they see, and that's kind of the biggest part of my platform and the biggest part of my motivation at this point is to allow other people the freedom to be who they really are and to do so authentically because it's not very often that you see someone who looks like me in this space just living their best life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's what did someone say to me once? Because like it's one of those, like, I know for the most part something, most of the stuff that's coming out of my mouth is going to be dumb, and I was like, and I'll be like, dumb question, and someone was like, there's no dumb questions, just dumb people, and I was like, oh yeah, of course, but it went right over my head, like I did
Yeah.
not even take it as like the insult. I was like, oh yeah, of course, yeah, and then just
Yeah.
continued on, and I was like, looking back, I was like, oh, okay, but no,
Yeah.
no, there is power in questions and asking those things. So
Yeah.
what does a coach, you brought up, the coaching a couple of times. What does that look like? What does coaching look
Yeah.
like?
So I have actually uh, coined the term coach consultant. So a little bit of coaching and consulting. So I have had the privilege of working with a couple of clubs and really going in and immersing myself into the team. Myself and my teammates will go in and have one-on-ones with teammates, have group sessions, and then once we truly have an understanding and individuals know, well, one, we come from the same place that you do, and this is a safe space to share truly how you're feeling, because it's not just about coming in and giving these systems and these processes and here's a checklist for how you can make this better, but it's really about the individual, and then how that individual plays into the team, and then how the team plays into the culture, right? So coaching from the inside out, and because it's truly an inside job. And so that's really the biggest thing, and how we approach consulting a little bit differently than I say is the traditional path of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What if with some of the clubs that you've worked with already, has there been like sort of a common theme, issue, kind of little hiccup, little knot in the woods? I don't know if we're talking about Ed Ronan, like, I don't know, woodworking. I don't know. Is there any like has there been, have you seen from your point of view like, oh, like this
Yeah.
is usually like or this is like a hot thing right now, like a hot topic or thing people are focusing on?
The one biggest, and this is not going to be a aha, it's really going to be of course it is communication and lack thereof. There are so many times where individuals can leaders cannot effectively or don't effectively communicate because they assume the team knows. They assume, well, I know, like, of course my team knows. And then because things haven't been effectively communicated, people are going to make up stories in their mind of, well, they didn't say this to me or they didn't do this. And so, and then that story then begins to compound with other things, and it shows up in ways that could truly be detrimental to the operation and to the culture of the team, when if we just effectively communicated in the beginning, like, we all would have been fine. But communication, even for those of us who believe that we are effective communicators, it's not a destination. Effective communication is not a destination. It is a continuous journey. And so that's really the biggest thing.
Can you share any tips or tricks or communication hacks, whatever you like to speak? Anything that any
Yeah.
cool takeaways that you can share that you share with your
Yeah.
clubs and clients?
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest thing is, if you see something, if you feel something, say something. Because if you have that question, if you noticed that interaction wasn't as copacetic as maybe it should have been, like, first, no one comes to work every day thinking, I'm going to ensure that Denny has a bad day at work today. I'm going to go to work today, especially in the hospitality and luxury hospitality space, to ensure that Denny has a bad day. And so if something happens where I offend you, unbeknownst to myself, hey, pull me to the side and say, hey, do you realize that that maybe didn't come out how you thought it did? Or what what were you really trying to say? And then let's go to Denny and say, hey, Denny, my apologies. I realized it was actually brought to my attention that, I said something that may have come across or didn't hit the way that I expected it to. My apologies, because those are the small, minute things that then will build and compound to have a blow up, or for you to not have my back on the floor a little bit later when I'm getting double or triple sat. And it's like, well, Denny was right there and he didn't have a table. Why didn't he come and help? And so it's those little things that, yeah, it then begin to ultimately impact the culture of a team.
And I'm sure that helps uncover the other, because I'm sure there's probably other underlying issues at that point.
Oh,
Then it helps uncover some of those, because it probably leads to one common thing, which is probably
yeah.
staffing and training, which is probably a whole other different issue in
Yeah.
itself. Uh, any others?
um, I would say any others. Being open and transparent and vulnerable as a leader. A story that I will share personally is I would say maybe about a year or so ago now. It was before I was diagnosed with anxiety. So I didn't know that I actually was suffering from anxiety, but I knew that I was starting to have some issues at times where I wasn't able to always show up as my best self. And this one day in particular, we were getting ready to go into lineup, and as I'm, getting the team riled up, because I always feel like, all right, lineups are so important because that's my opportunity to infuse my team with education, motivation, and inspiration before they head out onto the floor. But this day, we're starting lineup, and I just didn't have it. And I couldn't, for the life of me, just could not pull it up out of me. And so I had a moment, and I said, team, today I cannot be your fearless leader. Like, I am going to be on the floor with you. I will bust tables. I will do whatever I can. But as far as like really showing up for you, like today, I'm going to need to pull some energy from you all. I can't give my energy to y'all because I just don't have it. And it was a really tough moment for me, but I didn't know what else to do in that moment. And my team, just like clockwork, they chef came down, they went into the features of the day. Then the team went ahead and started talking about, because we had a new wine list, and it was what we had been talking about the entire week because we have focuses of the week. And so they were talking about different things that they had learned throughout the week. And before lineup was over, I had one teammate, Aiden, who said how proud of me he was in that moment, because my doing that allowed them to know that I was not perfect, because in their minds, they thought, man, I can never be that great because I don't come in happy and jovial every single day like Passion does. But by me showing them that vulnerability in that moment, it allowed them to then rise to the occasion and to show up in ways, again, that I didn't know was possible, and that they saw me as more human. And
Yeah.
allowed them to show up better, and that felt so good. And it was one of the greatest services that we had that evening. And so, yeah, being vulnerable in front of your team, and when you don't have it, showing them that humility, and then yeah, just creating the safe space for them to do the same.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. That's a really good story.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks.
That's cool.
Thanks. You really pull it out of people. I wasn't expecting us to go here.
Me neither. It just happened. I don't know. This is karma because Sarah Mueller made me uncomfortable in ours. So now I'm giving it back full force to everybody who's coming on the show. I don't like this.
Thanks,
Someone
Sarah.
commented to me. They were like, "She caught you up there." There we go. But yeah. So so what have you been speaking with groups about? Because I know you got some speaking stuff coming up. I got some. Yeah. So it's just what are you speaking with? What are you working with the groups with? What are your programs look like? What are
Sure.
your hot points? What are the topics?
Yeah. So, really, the basic framework of everything that we do and the foundation of it is the passion framework. So, the passion framework: purpose, accountability, self over service, innovation, objective, and nobility. And so, we can build whatever type of programming from that basic foundation that your team needs and desires. And so, for instance, I spoke at the Golden State Chapter Fall Conference, and their kind of overarching theme was interpersonal skills. And so I did a couple of sessions with them. One of them, it was lessons and blessings. So reframing the, you know, I guess, and reframing the failures, reframing the situations that necessarily weren't the best, and understanding that depending upon the perspective that you look at them from, even in your failures, those are lessons which ultimately will become blessings that will help to project you moving forward. And then discovering passion, so breaking down that passion framework and putting it into daily practice.
How do you energize the server? How do you energize the dishwasher? Because
Yeah,
a lot of these in-person days with the staff and crew, they get everybody there. How
yeah,
do you how do you ignite? How do
yeah,
you passionize the um
yeah,
lower levels sometimes?
yeah.
And I don't want to say lower levels, but more like entries.
Yeah. So I think it's about truly seeing people and understanding the role that they play and allowing them to see the role that they play in the vision and mission at large. So one example that I gave in training, so I was doing a training with at Memphis Hunt and Polo Club a couple weeks ago. And so the example is this. You have Wolfgang Puck. He's coming into the club and he's doing $1,000 a plate dinner for your members. They're super excited, right? Because it's Wolfgang Puck. He is amazing. And we bring out, the black tuxes everyone has on their white gloves because again, it's Wolfgang Puck. They paid $1,000 per plate. And as we're going around and we're coming out and we're doing synchronized service, you have your white gloves on, everyone sits the plates down, and in front of this one member, you have this amazing plate that was touched by Wolfgang Puck himself. But the plate itself is dirty. Is that member going to eat off of that plate?
Yes, because I just spent $1,000. No, I'm kidding. Edit. Um, Probably not. They're probably going to toss a look. There's going to be a noise.
Yeah,
There's going to be something.
absolutely. An audible gasp will happen. They will
Somebody
get
pucked
someone's
up.
attention and then say, "Get this out of my face." Like, how? How? And what that goes to show is that Jose or Mariella or whomever is in that dish pit, the role that they play, them washing that dish and double checking it before it goes out is just as important as the chef that is plating it up, right? So oftentimes we put our attention on the big person with the title in the room, but everyone has to play their part because everyone is just as important. It doesn't matter if Wolfgang Puck or whomever is creating this amazing, luxurious meal that I've paid all of this money for. If the plate isn't clean, I'm not eating it. I'm not eating it. And so that's where when you get your team in a room, not only ensuring that they know how important their role is, but that the team around them also knows how important their role is, and that we all see each other for who we are and the importance that we play in our mission, which is to ensure that our members have the most amazing experience, and that member mindset is not just with the members of the club, but the team members as well. Like we all are members, are members, are members.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. This is good. This is good. This is real good.
Thanks, Danny.
The episode might now be lessons and blessings, but I like that a lot. That's really good.
Oh,
Um,
thank you. Thank you.
what else you got cooking? What else is going on?
I would say if since we're talking about lessons and blessings, I'll talk about a couple more lessons that helped kind of catapult me to the decision to make the leap. So I talked about that white space and that time that I had during the busy season where I wasn't there with my team, and going through therapy and spending time with my mom. I remember one day, in particular, it was Mother's Day, and my mom, I asked her, what do you want for Mother's Day? And she wanted to go home because she had been staying with me. So we went to her house in Fayetteville, and all she wanted was Krispy Kreme donut and a hot dog from Wienerworks. And I'm like, well, Mom, I know I'm out on FMLA leave and I'm not getting paid right now, but I got some, like, we can do a little bit better. But that's all she wanted. So we're sitting on the porch enjoying our Krispy Kreme donut and our hot dogs from Wienerworks. And she said that this was the best Mother's Day that she had ever had. And I'm like, Mom, are you sure? Because we've had some pretty fancy Mother's Day. And she said, well, no, typically I get your leftovers. And instinctively, I'm thinking the leftovers that I'll bring from the club. And I'm like, well, the food typically is really good. Like, here we are eating Wienerwork hot dogs. And she says, no, it's your leftover energy. Like, whenever you get up and go to the club on holidays, like, I know that you're there for your team, you're there for the members. And while I appreciate it, but I know that I'm typically getting your leftover energy. And so that really, like, ugh, hit me a little different. And that was one of the things that whenever I did go back to work, figuring out a way where no one had to always give their family their leftover energy. So we implemented a way where, yeah, holidays are big, everyone typically are there, but we realized that we needed to rotate holidays for our teammates, for our leadership team. So our entire leadership team no longer at the Governor's Club, no one works every single holiday, right? So, and that's again those things where putting self over service, right? And understanding that in order to truly give the best of yourself, the Bible says, from your overflow, give. So if your cup is not full, you're making the individuals that you're giving to thieves. And none of us really want to do that. So in order to ensure that we are giving from our overflow, ensuring that our cup is full first. And so when I say that Passionate Productions is about serving those who serve others and sharing those lessons and blessings, that's one of the ones that is really, really key. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn. That was good. Where can people learn more about you and Passionate Productions?
Yeah, so passionateproductionsllc.com is our website. And then on the socials, so LinkedIn, we have both a business page and then my personal page, on Instagram and Facebook.
What who are you trying to focus on the most? Like who are
Yeah.
you like
Our niche is definitely the directors of catering and events, those banquet managers. And while what we have to offer is for all leaders, all teams within the club industry, there is a hole in that banquet and events department, that catering and events sector. There's no one that is really saying, hey, we're going to cater to you. And
yeah.
so, but when you look at it and you look at our budgets within clubs, there's only one line item where we say, "Hey, this is where we're going to actually make money," and it's in that catering and event space. And so, why not put money and energy and invest in the individuals who are then allowing us the opportunity to really put money and focus and energy and investment into those amenities. And those are our directors of catering and events. And I think that a lot of times it's just a second thought and we don't really look at how much they actually do and how much those catering and events directors, their roles play into everyone else. And yeah, it's important. Whenever people are looking to join clubs, those membership directors are signing them up for an event so that they can meet other people. Whenever the kids are out for school, we are wanting to figure out different events to keep those children engaged. The biggest thing that happens at most clubs is the member guest. That is typically the biggest event. And so a lot happens in and around events, yet and still no one there up until now, there hasn't been a firm that has been focused on those individuals. So here
thank you once again so much for coming on. Appreciate you. It was so much fun. I mean, and you know how to throw a party. So that, I mean,
I was hoping we were going to get to
I was
that.
one of those. I think I just like jumped right in. I should have started with this, but we just started like straight, straight to it. But you know how to throw a party.
I mean,
I was so fortunate to be able to be at your party. So much. Oh my goodness. That was killer. So much fun, so much energy. To say there's passions, punny. But like, no, but like there was an energy in the room, and you could just tell the whole thing was done with like love and passion.
Well, I was not going to hop off of here without acknowledging you as the MC for my event. Thank you so much for coming down and really making it special. And I must tell you, the one big takeaway, other than, it wasn't the food or the love and passion, everyone is dying to know how you did that magic trick.
That's this episode. Until next time, catch y'all on the flippity flip. No.
Like, we've tried to figure it out. Like, what type of sorcery, wizardry, like, you are the man, Denny.
I was powered by charcuterie, and that's what gave me the powers that evening. It was
love it.
Big charcuterie energy.
Yeah.
Actually, that's the episode title. Big charcuterie energy.
Thank you.
But no, this has been fun. Look forward to chatting more. Congrats on everything, and thanks for popping on.
Oh, thank you so much, Denny. Love you.
Hope you all enjoyed that episode. I know I did. Always so much joy and energy and fun when our paths get to cross and we get to chat. So that was just a really good, great episode. To learn more, head on over to passionateproductionsllc.com and find her on LinkedIn as well. If you're enjoying the episodes, I would really, truly, genuinely appreciate a review and a rating, sharing it with other people. It means the world. That's this episode. Until next time, catch y'all on the flippity flip.